You are fit, but you are not healthy.
जिम जा रहे हो मतलब बॉडी बिल्ड बनानी है.
Six-pack abs is not really a measure of health or fitness. All of us have abs. Think about it. You'll be shocked that I do not find men having less than 25% body fat.
ये भी सेम गलती कर रहा है, ये भी सेम गलती कर रहा है.
Women above the age of 45-50 in India, they are going up to 48 to 50% fat and their muscle is extremely less. It's going to slow down your metabolism. It's going to spoil your gut health, spoil your mental health, spoil your sleep. Is that not bothering you? Supplements and anything about it is a double-edged sword.
You mentioned supplements, right? And I wanted to go deeper into this.
I don't mind if this stirs up a controversy, is that multivitamins are a scam. You think whey is unnatural, whey is artificial. It's not. Please wake up. Creatine is the number one supplement to exist in the world.
What is the importance of a good night's sleep?
Sleep is when the magic happens. And when you sleep, the recovery happens. That is the passive calorie burn. Recently, I saw a Virat Kohli video. Someone said that he actually carries things like his nuts and everything with him. MS Dhoni, Rishabh Pant have massive thighs. You seen their thighs? MS Dhoni, I have read, has to get customized pants made.
Ice bath helps you increase longevity.
I think that's a load of bullshit.
If you want to live a long, healthy, fit life, this is the podcast for you. Because today I have my friend and doctor Manan Vora on the podcast, and आज हम सब कुछ discuss करते हैं, right from physical fitness, exercise, what are the habits that you need to inculcate in your sedentary lifestyle like office work. So tune into this podcast. What is actually being a fit person? Because mostly people think कि six packs है bodybuilding है, that's fit person. But आपके हिसाब से क्या है?
So सबसे पहले है कि people assume fitness based on aesthetic. Okay, you'll be surprised to see, like, let's say you go for a wedding, okay, and you see someone in an outfit, and this is a very traditional Indian mindset. Like, you will have people from the older generation look at youngsters and say, अरे तू कितनी lean है, तू कितनी fit है, वाओ अपने आप को maintain किया है. And if you actually ask that kind of person, they'll be like, हाँ मैं तो कुछ करती नहीं हूँ, I don't really do anything. But that's more their genetic makeup and their build-up and the structure of their body. So we need to understand that health is very different. Fitness is very different. Being lean, being thin, being of a particular aesthetic is also very, very different. So health per se, if you go to health per se actually means the absence of any physical, mental, social, emotional disease in a particular human being. That is what health is. Fitness, on the other hand, is the ability to do a particular physical task up to a particular level. So, of course, there are basic parameters. So, for example, you can be diabetic, which means you have disease and you are not healthy. But you can do 25 push-ups, which is a particular metric of fitness. So, you are fit, but you are not healthy.
Unhealthy, but fit.
On the other end, you can be free from any disease, going about your day-to-day life absolutely fine, but you climb 2 flights of stairs and you are panting, you are breathless.
Correct.
आपको अगर मैं बोलूँ कि 100 meters यहाँ से यहाँ आपको भागना है and you take 40 seconds to do it, मतलब you are not able to do a particular physical task within the normal time based on the average around the people who can do it. So,
correct.
Fitness, very, very different. Health, very, very different. Abhi, you brought up a very interesting one, 6-pack abs. Now, 6-pack abs basically is not really a measure of health or fitness, to be very honest. 6-pack abs का मतलब है, obviously, आपके जो abdominal muscles है, around your abdominal area, you have extremely low fat percentage, which is why your abdominal muscles are visible. It's not that you don't have, all of us have abs.
Correct.
It's just that they are covered in layers of fat.
Yes.
सबके पास है abs. तो 6-pack abs लाने के लिए, most likely, you will require a serious level of discipline because, especially in Indians, पेट के आसपास जो हमें मोटापा होता है, that is, we have a higher tendency.
Correct.
So, obviously, there are higher chances that person is crossed a level of fitness to get those 6-pack abs.
Yeah.
Technically, you can say, does someone with 6-pack abs have a level of fitness? It's most likely they do. Does that mean they are the healthiest possible?
Very
Probably not. So that's usually the difference.
But basically, people who think that if I ask them, and like, are you fit, and they show me their abs, that's not like literally कि नहीं ऐसे कुछ नहीं होता है.
Well, technically no. But if you tell them to do 30 push-ups in 40 seconds and they can do it.
Got it.
Even though they don't have six-pack abs, they are fit.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So first distinction is that healthy and fit are two different things. Healthy is related to diseases, and fitness is more related to physical exercise, gym, badminton, sports, whatever.
Absolutely.
Got it. Okay. Now,
So not necessarily related to gym and sports. Physical fitness could even mean, can you lift the suitcase at the airport luggage belt? Can you lift a 20 kg suitcase and put it up on the luggage belt?
Yeah,
So it
very
does
true.
not necessarily mean sport and this. It's the ability to do physical tasks.
Correct.
You know, Ayush, the whole awareness of physical fitness, gymming, exercising is literally like 10 years old, even in India.
yeah.
And all our elders in our family, everyone we know, not everyone grasps the concept कि अरे जिम में क्यों जाना है,
हाँ.
एक्सरसाइज क्यों करना है. And I have a lot of orthopedic patients who come to me and I tell them, why aren't you lifting weights? Why aren't you working out? And they just laugh and they say, अरे हम थोड़ी ये सब करेंगे, ये तो बच्चों करते हैं, ये तो people in their 20s and 30s do it. Why would I do it? And that's when I explain to them that you need to understand that the reason you need to be able to do a deadlift, even if it is with 5 kg dumbbells, is because tomorrow you'll want to pick up your grandchild from the floor and take him in your arms without catching your back.
Yeah.
The reason I want you to do a shoulder overhead press, even if it's with 2.5 kg dumbbells, is so that when you are 75, you can pick up something from the kitchen platform and put it on the top shelf without actually shoulder movement restriction. So every movement, don't think of it कि gym जाना मतलब मुझे muscles बनाना है. We are talking about my entire mindset, and you know how much I obsess about longevity.
Yeah.
Is not to worry about कि आप 50 के age पे हो. Why am I telling you to work out? Not because at 53 I need you to be doing something. At 83 I need you to be doing something. You don't want to be dependent on your partner, on different family members, on house help, on all of those things, which I know is very easily available in India compared to foreign places where kids move out and domestic help is not a thing.
Yeah.
But the reason these movements you are doing in the gym is because they will serve you in life later on in day-to-day activities. So that is the concept. It's physical tasks. It's not about weights or gymming.
Yeah, that's a separate point.
Of course.
And I think, again, this is where I think children need to take a step up and educate their parents. And I remember when you were here for the office inauguration also, and my mom was here and we all got chatting. And she was also the same कि यारे ये सब थोड़ी हम करेंगे. And उनका भी एक प्री कंसीव्ड नोशन है कि जिम जा रहे हो मतलब बॉडी बिल्ड बनानी है. एंड बॉडी बिल्डिंग क्यों बनानी है, वो मुझे भी डिमोटिवेट करती थी कि क्यों बना रहे हो तुम बॉडी, तुम्हें क्या मतलब है बॉडी बना के, अच्छे खासे हेल्दी तो.
We can't blame them, right? We didn't know about this 20 years back, so how do you expect them to know about it?
Correct. Yeah, again, just reiterating that people like me, हमें अपनी मम्मी पापा को सिखाना चाहिए एंड वो ओनरशिप लेनी चाहिए, educate करने की, and then getting them the right support to help them. Now we covered the parents aspect of it, but according to you, if you look at your patients and like you have so many followers, Indian structure कैसा है, like the both in men and women, what is the preconceived notion भी हमने discuss कर लिया कि right kind of healthy right kind of fit क्या है, but mostly कैसे होते हैं लोग, like 40% fat वाले होते हैं, 30% fat वाले होते हैं, उनको लगता है वो healthy हैं but healthy नहीं होते हैं. उस पर आप जरा बताओ.
Yeah, so you know, people need to get a basic understanding of what body composition is. क्योंकि अभी आपने तो you are quite into your nutrition and fitness journey, so you know what 40% fat means. I think people won't even understand that. So to give people an idea, आप लोग जो weighing scale पे खड़े रहते हो, that just gives you the kilograms, how much your body weighs.
Correct.
Okay, so let's assume we have a 70 kg individual. लेकिन वो 70 kgs में कितना actually muscle है, कितना actually fat है, how much is your organ weight, how much is your bone weight. The only way we as doctors can come to know about this, or you can self-prescribe this test and go ahead do it yourself, is a DEXA scan or a body fat analysis. This is the only way it kind of gives you an X-ray picture कि आपके body के अंदर कितना muscle है, कितना fat है. So आपने जो बोला 40% fat, you were referring to an individual having roughly 58 to 60% muscle, 40% fat. So now coming to the Indian scenario, you'll be shocked that I do not find men having less than 25% body fat, and I do not find women having less than 30% body fat. This is the general 9 out of 10 picture that comes to us
so this,
in our setting.
Sorry to interrupt, but 25% body fat matlab 1/4 of my body is full of fat.
Of course.
Got
Correct.
it. And 30% is one third, almost one third of that.
Correct.
Okay.
That's right. Now, of course, yes, you may tell me that you are seeing 9 out of 10 patients. Okay, so that brings me to the other side of the story. I cannot make a statement that 90% of India is like this. You have to keep in mind that these are people coming to me with joint and muscle pains. And then we are getting to the bottom of the cause. We are analyzing their body fat analysis, and this is the data I can present.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes you think that if your body fat percentage is above the normal range, so ideally for women, you should be somewhere below 27%. Ideally for men, you should be somewhere below 21-22%.
Oh, okay.
This is a very realistic target. I mean, personally, I am aiming to be at 14-15 myself.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm nowhere near that. I'm around 19.5 right now. I'm aiming to get there. This is a very realistic target I'm giving without any steroids or any unnecessary supplements.
Of course, yeah.
Of course. So, now it makes you think that 9 out of 10 people are out of this range. Is that why they are coming to me? Is that why they are having issues? Is that why they are not generally in the healthier or fitter side of things?
Yeah.
So, yes, the argument may be that if I go to a gym where I see a lot of ripped people who are definitely in that range, I won't get a 9 out of 10 there. But that's a really small subset of Indian population we're dealing with, right? Majority of the people are in this range. And this is also a very polite way of putting it. Women above the age of 45-50 in India, unka jo zyada fat deposition around the hips, around the glutes, around their abdomen, they are going up to 48 to 50% fat, and their muscle is extremely less. I mean, imagine having only 50% muscle. So when people hear this, they don't get the proper understanding of what I'm saying. What I'm actually telling you is, if you are a 70 kg individual with 50% fat, 50% muscle, it means your body or your physical being is carrying 35 kgs of fat. Now, can you imagine this scenario? अगर मैं आपको बोलूँ कि 5 kgs का dumbbell आप पकड़ो, even you and me, forget that individual will be relatively on the unfit side. Even you and me, I tell you 5 kg का डंबल पकड़ना है तुझे आयुष, पूरा दिन, start at 7 a.m. till you sleep, 5 kgs cannot leave your hand. Go about your day with it. You go to the washroom, you go to eat, you go to do everything. Obviously, this will not be a pleasant experience. Of course, it's possible. You can do it. But it will not be a pleasant experience.
True.
5 kgs पकड़ के सब करना. This individual is carrying 35. Just that it's inside the body. But that 5 kg was outside the body. That 5 kg was outside the body. So you felt, oh my God, this is such a problem in my life. I am not able to do my day-to-day things क्योंकि this caused a lot of hindrance. पर जब आप 35 kgs बॉडी के अंदर लेके घूम रहे हो, सब कुछ कर रहे हो, आप स्टेयर्स क्लाइंब कर रहे हो, आप वॉशरूम जा रहे हो, आप स्पोर्ट्स खेल रहे हो, आप ट्रैवल कर रहे हो, आप काम पे जा रहे हो, सब कर रहे हो, is that not bothering you? When do you realize what inside your body is also something you can get rid of? Just like you can take that 5 kg dumbbell, throw it and go about your day-to-day life, you have to make that decision for the 35 kgs inside. Example, even if it's 25%, it would have been 17.5 kgs carrying. Is not a joke.
True.
When you look at it that way, you realize
very well explained.
How is that excess baggage that you are going about? Think about it.
True. I think DEXA scan sabko karwana chahiye for sure. And can we go into the details of why is this bad? Like, what is the long-term impact of this fat that you're carrying in terms of your diseases or like bones?
No, absolutely. So what people need to understand is that muscle is the currency of your body. ठीक है, आपको जितना सेविंग्स अकाउंट में बैलेंस है वो आप रखो अपने पास, जितना आपका पोर्टफोलियो है वो सब रखो, जितने आपके इन्वेस्टमेंट्स है वो सब रखो. The genuine currency that everyone needs to think about is muscle. So if you have 30 to 35% body fat and just 60 to 65% muscle, that is not a great account to have in your body. Now, there is something called sarcopenia. Sarcopenia means age-related muscle loss.
Okay.
So it starts as early as age 13 women and age 14 men. With every passing year, you can lose up to 1% of muscle in your body. Now, the only way to preserve that muscle, forget increase, preserve, जो जा रहा है उसी को भी बचाना है, is to up your protein intake and do strength and resistance training. Now, naturally, you are going to lose muscle mass, and उसके ऊपर, if you are not focusing on those things, and at a younger age, if you are already at 65-35 muscle and fat, the chances of having more and more diseases
Gonna
is
get
just
worse.
going to go up. Because fat deposition in your body over time is obviously going to ensure your body is also in a state of inflammation. It's going to slow down your metabolism. It's going to spoil your gut health, spoil your mental health, spoil your sleep. We're not even going into if it leads to obesity, it leads to blood sugar rise, leads to diabetes. That's a completely separate thing.
Yeah.
But overall, the way you move and feel, your energy and your fatigue levels, all of them going to be affected. Most importantly, we need to discuss trunkal fat, which means the fat around your trunk.
Okay.
We have conclusive evidence that now says that if you have more than 10 kgs of fat around your abdomen, you are at higher risk of heart disease. If you have more than 13 kgs, it multiplies by a few number of times. If you have more than 15 kgs, it multiplies by even more.
Okay.
The last DEXA scan I did, I was at 9.9 kgs, and I'm relatively on the
Yeah.
leaner / fitter or decently muscular side. I'm not saying I don't have fat. I know I have fats on my sides and all of that, which I'm obviously working on. It's a never ending journey. But you imagine if I am on 9.9 kgs just in, you can imagine how many people would be above that 10 kg and they have no idea that this is a major risk factor for heart disease in the future as well. That's how important it is to get your fat down. Once again, when you do a DEXA scan, there is a separate table that gives you the fat distribution in different parts of your body. Your trunkal fat number is actually mentioned over there as well. So someone's doing it, they can check that as well. Those are the consequences. Yeah.
Understood. So what are the top bad habits per se that is leading to, like, sedentary lifestyle is one of them. Like, हम घर में बैठे रहते हैं 8-9 घंटे, we are just doing this, our necks are hurting, our back is hurting and all that. We're not moving as much. But according to you, what are the common patterns that you've seen आपके patients में that यार ये भी same गलती कर रहा है, ये भी same गलती कर रहा है, like top 3 mistakes?
Top 3 mistakes, 100%. I have to bring up what you said, excessive desk time. Because obviously we are, we need to realize, Ayush, ki the jobs and the kind of work profiles that have come up with the advent of technology, with laptops coming in, with computers, the whole obviously era that came in from the 2000s, coming into laptops, coming into cellular devices, all of these things have increased everyone's time on the desk. These things were not that common back then, right?
Yes.
Obviously. So obviously increased number of hours sitting in one place. So your overall movement is restricted. You are obviously sitting way more than you were. Of course, sitting is the new smoking, is the new big thing that everyone talks about. And I completely agree, because you are forcing your body in that particular position for hours and hours on end without even moving from that place. So definitely desk jobs is the common thing. Like, I just have to ask when they come only, I'm like, what are you doing for work? Like, it's very common. And I know this because very few doctors face this issue, because we don't have a desk job. We're always on the move. We're walking around here, operating, doing multiple. Of course, we have our own issues. That's a separate thing.
Yeah.
But it's not this. That's one. Number 2, people are not eating home food. That's number 2. Number 3, because of the number of people who are now working and the lack of a work-life balance, the number of hours you actually have to yourself, whether you want to exercise, whether you want to spend time with a loved one, whether you want to learn a hobby, whether you or do more of your hobby, whether you want to learn a new skill, you are not getting that time to be in the mental space to actually carry that out, because you have targets to meet, you have managers and bosses right at you. I mean, I should interview your team if they're facing the same thing. But, obviously life is not easy. Even for today's 18 to 22-year-old, life is not easy. They're always trying to hustle, do something else. So lack of exercise, lack of mental peace of mind to actually focus on something, all of these things over time are obviously going to catch up to you. So these would probably fall under the top 3 things that people are making genuine mistakes in. And I think if they try to correct all 3 with basic tips, which I'm sure we can discuss, I mean, you can solve most problems and not need doctors like us.
Yeah.
But if you continue, I'm going to be very rich in life. So, just kidding.
Child will go to private school. Got it. So, I mean, I was reading today only about this, like, because we're discussing how to live a good, healthy life. That's the goal of this conversation. I was reading about this concept of blue zones. And Japanese cities have a lot of blue zones, right?
Yeah.
And blue zones, for those of you who do not know, is basically, you can correct me if I am misdirected, is that people there not only live a long life but they also live a happy life.
Correct.
मतलब वो 80 years ऐसे नहीं कि बस 80 years चल गए या 90s चल गए. They're very happy, they're moving and all that.
Correct.
And the concept behind it is something called MOI, MOI. उसका मतलब ये होता है कि nutritious food खाना खाओ. कम्युनिटी के साथ 3:30 बजे उनका एक कॉन्सेप्ट है 3:30 PM every day they like bunch of them will be sitting together irrespective of जो भी उनके जिंदगी में चल रहा है. They'll discuss their stresses and life and they'll live an enjoyable life. They'll walk around, all that. That's the concept that they have, and people believe that that is one of the major reasons जिसकी वजह से they live such a long life. And India में वो एक किटी पार्टी का एक I think वो एक सिस्टम था. मम्मी को देखता था तब भी मम्मी उसके से काफ़ी खुश रहती थी कि मैं तो जा रही हूँ, मैं तो 4 बज गए मैं निकल रही हूँ. So what do you think about this overall scenario in this current lifestyle?
No, so it's interesting you brought up the community point because when we used to study medicine, we used to learn the definition of health, which was the absence of physical and mental disease. Okay, so physical and mental were included. Then few years later, while I was graduating or post-graduation, the definition of health changed to the absence of physical, mental, emotional and spiritual. You should focus on all these aspects of health. Now, there is a new one added called social health. Because there's significant research that shows that when you actually have relationships with people around you, and obviously healthy ones, it can significantly impact the quality of your life as well. So the community point is really interesting and something India is way behind on. And I'm sorry, the kitty parties is not an example because I'm a member in a club where I go to gym and there's always kitty parties happening every evening, different groups. And without sounding rude, probably 70% of them are on the obese side. Probably 90% of them, when I see the plates on their table, are having the worst choices possible. And I don't know how much social health is improving in gossiping and talking about different people. That's a different story. But I mean, I'm happy they're at least getting out and speaking to people because that way their mind is always working. To be honest, even when you gossip, your mind is constantly working. So it's better than being... I don't know if it's better or not, but it's at least you're giving your mind something. It's a different thing that they could have probably met in smaller groups and gone for a walk around a park and had the same discussions.
Correct.
They could have probably met in someone's home and had home cooked food. Again, slight changes. They're not very big changes. But I guess everything else that comes with the concept of kitty parties adds to the fun. So changing that is not easy.
And it is about like the small changes. Like I remember आपने बोला था कि like 10,000 steps वाला जो concept है, आप जिम में जाते हो, workout कर रहे हो, but in between those workout you just walk and like get done with the 10,000. This is such a small step, right?
I mean, recently I saw a Virat Kohli video. Someone said that he actually carries things like his nuts and everything with him, flights and all. He's not having that. So that's how you build that discipline. It's interesting only when you're disciplined.
True. Now we mentioned the top 3 bad habits that people follow. जिससे ये हो रहा है. Top 3 habits or top 3 lifestyle changes. एक तो हमने actually discuss कर ली, but क्या करना चाहिए to your patients which you suggest?
Okay. Number 1, and let's discuss the problems we discussed and the similar solution to it.
Done.
ठीक है. Number 1 is
the office sedentary lifestyle.
Get a walking pad. Okay. Get a walking pad, and as a company owner, I want to tell you that you will be doing a great service to your employees by investing in like 3 walking pads and keeping them in one corner of your office and encouraging your own employees to actually go and use that. Okay, so you can get them these basic on Amazon or IKEA, you can get them these high desks on which they can keep their laptops and walk when they take a meeting or walk when they do that.
Correct.
I've actually got one at home for myself to walk on while watching sports. So I watch a lot of sports. So
you walk while watching sports?
I walk while watching sports.
Insane.
So this is after finishing my 8 to 9K in the day. So even right now we've got the Cricket World Cup going on. I finished 3,000-4,000 steps while watching like 40 minutes of a game. And I don't even realize.
Crazy.
So getting a walking pad is an unbelievable hack. And walking pad, if I'm not wrong, is that treadmill ka just niche? Correct. Part, right? It's just the pad. A lot of these good companies give it with you can fold up and get the hand support as well if someone of an older age group or someone who has balance issues wants to do that. But for most people who are on the healthier side, fitter side, a walking pad is like revolutionary. So that's one lifestyle change. Okay, 10K steps तो ऐसे ही हो जाएंगे. You won't even realize आपके 8 hours में ही हो जाएंगे.
True.
अच्छा, we've not even gotten to the benefits that you are not sitting, so your spine is in extension. All your muscles are not getting tense or stiff, so you're not really going to have neck and back pains and other issues which come with long hours. So those things are separate. That's just a happy consequence of this nice lifestyle change. That's one. Number two, you have to either delete those food delivery apps, because trust me, when you delete it, it's very unlikely you will install an order. It's very unlikely. Now, of course, if you don't have any food and you're helpless, that's a different thing. In which case, the lifestyle changes. You need to start planning your meals one day in advance. Whether you are cooking it, someone is cooking it, someone is helping you with it. Ghar ka khana. I'm going to be at least basic. Forget calorie counted and macro measure. That's to going into the next step. एटलीस्ट घर का जो आप खा रहे हो, एटलीस्ट घर का खाना, बिकॉज घर का जो ऑयल यूज हो रहा है, whoever's cooking is at least a little more mindful. Recently, I don't know if you read, but there were quite a few raids done in Telangana.
Yeah, of course.
So again, it's not right to generalize all eateries out there and say everyone's messing up, but you have no idea what's coming on your plate. You have no idea. And please understand that all of them, and I'm not saying I don't use them. Of course, I eat out once in a while. Yeah, it's impossible to not. Please understand that the only way they impress you, whether it is by getting a better rating or by trying to get you to reorder, is by ensuring it's tasty by hook or by crook. At the end of the day, you're going to judge by taste.
Yeah.
You can go for the healthiest vegan meal on these platforms, and if it's not tasty, you're not going to order again. How much ever you tell yourself that, oh wow, this was, at least I made a better choice, next time I'll do the same thing. No, you'll try to look for the next healthier vegan option that's also tasty. And you have no idea what's being done in the kitchen. You have zero idea. You have zero idea what's being done, at least in all these cloud kitchens, because there is no label. There is no, they're not putting anything on print where you will send it for testing and you can sue them. Like most of the majority companies have to disclose it on the label. Yeah. So you have no idea what's happening. So ghar ka khana is the next second step that you need to focus on. And coming to the third thing is, you need to find some time to exercise. Okay, so what you did during your work hours is different. That is going to be counted in your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, NEAT.
Okay.
How many calories you are burning by doing day-to-day activities which are non-exercise. That is point 1 we discussed. Point 3 is your actual active exercise. That what are you doing to actually move your muscles, actually build your muscles, actually burn calories. If you can't find time to do at least 30 minutes a day, then you need to seriously question what you're working toward. Because if you don't have health, you're not really going to be able to enjoy whatever you're building, whether it's wealth, whether it's companies, whether it's relationships, whether it's anything. If you don't have the health to enjoy it, what's the point? Like, what are you working for? Someone else is going to enjoy it. Whoever you're going to leave it for is going to enjoy it. So it's as basic as this. And I'm not saying gym hi jana hai ya kuch bhi karna hai. At least move. Start with moving. It's a different thing that there are various types of exercise and they have various benefits, and each one should be done for what, and we can discuss that. But
correct, that's where I'm going.
30 minutes a day is not so much to ask from your body. I mean, that's the least you can do to give back to your body. That's your daily SIP. म्यूचुअल फंड में तो आपने डाल ही दिया है, कंपाउंडिंग के लिए तो आप डाल ही रहे हो, पर आपका डेली SIP कहाँ है हेल्थ में? That's your daily SIP. Because you won't see a result in 2 days. You won't see a result in 20 days. You may or may not see a result in 2 months. You will see a result in 2 years, and you will 100% be super happy after 20 years. Why? Compounding. म्यूचुअल फंड में तो सब कर रहे हैं ना, 15 साल डालो, 180 months, whatever other calculations all your influencers are saying, or people all across that.
I agree.
Just put it, forget it. Don't check your NAV. Don't check it. So don't check it. See, check after 2 years. If you're believing in the process, like you believe in the Indian growth economy or whatever, and it's going to do well, believe in this process and this discipline, this will compound as well. So that's your health SIP.
Yeah. Cool. Let's discuss some mutual funds, where I mean exercises. If we talk about exercise, and I want to make this clear or ask you this question also, because I spend so much time with my team members and creators and brands who are usually 20 to let's say 40 age group, and all they tell me is that, हमें जिम नहीं जाना है, हम स्पोर्ट्स खेल लेंगे, हम थोड़ा फुटबॉल खेल लेंगे, हम थोड़ा क्रिकेट टर्फ खेल लेंगे. Like one of my team members plays cricket regularly, like thrice a week or 4 times a week he'll just play cricket. and I asked him, what do you do? Like, what is your usual thing? Like, I bat and I field. These are the two things I do and burn a lot of calories. So now, is that really enough to live like a good long life? Like, will he face problems? Because from my understanding, and of course you come in, जो मैंने सीखा है, आपसे सीखा है और बाकी लोगों से सीखा है, जो मुझे भी नहीं समझ में आ रहा था कि मसल बिल्डिंग इज सो इम्पॉर्टेंट टू लिव अ लॉन्गर लाइफ, एंड यू कवर्ड दैट अ लिटिल बिट, वी कैन गो डीप इनटू दैट. Is that muscle, as you mentioned,
muscle is the currency of your body or of your life.
Muscle is the currency of my life. And I need to build more and more of it because एक point के बाद 40 is what you mentioned. 40 साल के बाद मेरी muscle depletion शुरू हो जाएगा. तो already कम है तो वो और जल्दी खत्म हो जाएगा. And जितनी जल्दी खत्म हो जाएगा फिर वही exercise नहीं कर पाऊंगा. I'll be dependent upon other people, which is most of our parents after a point of time. So if you can you deep dive into this one?
Yeah. So people need to understand that there are various aspects to training, various aspects to fitness. The one that we need to focus on for longevity, and when we speak about muscle being the currency, is muscle hypertrophy.
Okay.
Now, the only way you're going to get muscle hypertrophy is by adding some significant resistance. Because when you add that resistance or you add an external weight, or what we call resistance training, strength training, that is the only time you're going to have a little bit of wear and tear of those muscle fibers, which will then regrow, restructure with a little more bulk. That is what hypertrophy is. Okay. That is when your muscle mass will increase.
Got it.
If you only play cricket, for example, and this is not an anti-cricket stance, let's say huge. Let's count any sport. And there's no point comparing yourself to the professional athlete because they are spending time in the gym, they are spending time with the trainer, they are doing their strength and conditioning, they're doing a lot of things which you are not doing. You are going to the turf, playing your cricket, coming back, going to your turf, playing your football, coming back. So you are really not doing anything to build significant muscle.
Correct.
The only thing you are doing is basically a little higher intensity of cardio. Instead of walking, you are having a little bit running, a little bit of agility, a little bit of sprinting, a little bit of change in direction movements. And of course, overall, it will improve a little bit of your balance, a little bit of your flexibility, a little bit of your mobility, which are all components of fitness. So it's fine. It's good. But is it going to build significant muscle, which will ensure you live a better life in the future? Probably not. Is it going to ensure your bone density doesn't decrease as you age? Definitely not. So sport is great. It's a brilliant way of getting in your cardio. So you need to, at the end of the day, only focus on two things: cardio and strength. All your sports, of course, both are important. All your sports, all your different kind of activities, walking se leke, jogging se leke, sab jo bhi le lo, it all comes under your cardio. But you need to actually build significant muscle. Have you noticed the best marathon runners in the world are usually on the skinnier side? Usually these Africans, the Kenyans and all, if you see all the Olympic winners, why marathon runners, even 5,000 kilometers and 10,000 kilometer, Mo Farah, who is currently like the legend of 5,000, 10,000 kilometers, the British athlete, his legs are this much. So they are endurance training athletes. They don't need muscle hypertrophy. They need a lot of endurance in their muscles. So they train very, very differently. Of course, at some point, they also need to build muscle. And I'm sure they do a different kind of training. But you, on the other hand, cannot only be doing cardio. Yes, you can only be doing weight training and ensuring you hit 10 to 12K steps and get a little bit of cardio. Technically, yes, we can go into zones of cardio. We can go into increasing your heart rate and going for optimal thing. But if you had to pick one, 30 minutes in the gym, 100% better. No question about it. No question about it.
And if I'll just quickly explain the process of muscle building also, because लोगों को समझ में नहीं आता है and आप मेरे को correct करना. This is also my test of understanding. Is basically when I'm using a dumbbell to, let's say, build muscle around my bicep, micro tears होते हैं in my muscles. And when you eat food or like the right kind of nutrients and protein is like omega, जिससे मेरे muscle rebuild होते हैं. Next time when it's built a little with like more strength and वो थोड़ा और फैल जाता है.
Absolutely.
उसी फैलने को आप कहते हो कि अरे तेरा muscle दिख रहा है, तेरा डोले दिख रहा है.
वही तो मैंने बताया ना, वही exactly right. That you have wear and tear and then regrowth of newer structure and newer muscle fibers, which will happen with more bulk, which is why your protein intake is extremely important, because protein is that important for muscle recovery and growth.
Correct.
How are you tearing those muscle fibers by playing cricket? ठीक है, थोड़ा बैटिंग कर लिया, you're hitting a pull shot or two and a little bit of shoulder work is happening. But how are you building your quads by playing cricket? Not really. The only person building his quads and hamstrings while playing cricket is the wicketkeeper, because he's squatting non-stop every ball. That also in overarm cricket turf mein to there's not real squatting happening. He's the only one building, which is why MS Dhoni, Rishabh Pant have massive thighs.
Yeah.
You've seen their thighs. MS Dhoni, I have read, has to get customized pants made, because he's not got so much abdominal fat. मतलब उसका जो waist है, that's relatively 34-36. But जो usual 34-36 के हम जो pants पहनते हैं, उनका जो flow रहता है, his thigh does not fit in that. So MS Dhoni has to get every pant customized.
Wow.
Because his thighs are this big and it's not corresponding to the waist that his fitness is, like his measurements are. His thighs are that of a 42-inch waist obese person जिसके इतने बड़े seams होते हैं उनके pants के. Why? Because they are wicket keepers. See Rishabh Pant also, he's short. He's got massive legs, massive thighs, massive hamstrings. They're squatting non-stop. So.
Yeah, makes sense. Cool. So again, just to reiterate and make it very clear in front of the audience, you might be doing sports, you might be playing badminton, you might be doing a 10K steps, but gym resistance training, strength training, as you mentioned, is irreplaceable. You have to still do it 5 times, 4 times a week. 30 minutes is what you mentioned minimum.
So again, I would not say you need to do it 5 times, 4 times a week. You need to do it at least 2 to 3 times, because it's very wrong to say that you should be doing 5 times. I do it 6 times a week, no question about that. But considering our audience is currently we're trying to convince them to at least start.
Yeah.
Even if you're doing 2 times a week or 3 times would be even better, you are at least in the right direction. So which is why if you're into sport, please go out and play thrice a week sport, but thrice a week do this. Thrice a week lift weights.
Perfect. Now, going on to longevity, we have been discussing that for a while, but what are the core principles of longevity? And first I'll tell you what I understand from my journey is that I've been told one is grip strength. Like this, you need to have this grip strength. A lot of people, old people, they lose this. Like they're not able to like hold glasses and like hold suitcases or whatever, which is basic thing that you need in life.
Correct.
Second is VO2 max, which is related to your heart rate. Kitna jaldi aapka oxygen recovery ho raha hai. That is second. Third is the muscle itself. How much muscle do you have? And I think 4 is stability, balance. Like do you have, which is also connected to muscle, but like can you stand like this without your legs shaking or like all that shaking, right? Because after 65, 70, 75, you are not able to walk. You get into the wheelchair, which I'm sure is because of the lack of muscle or lack of stability that you have. So these are the 4 things of longevity. What are your thoughts?
So I mean, you can have a couple more. You can. I'd not even rate a lot of these that much, to be honest. Sure. There's a lot of different things, and we are currently in a very nascent stage in longevity in India, to be honest. Yes, the West is a good 10 years ahead of us, I feel. In fact, just last month I read in Times of India that we have launched a longevity association to start pumping in some money and do some research in longevity. Or 10 saal se chal raha hai West mein. So we are 10 years behind them as a country. Now, for people to understand longevity, why I keep talking about it is you need to understand 2 basic concepts. One is lifespan, one is health span.
Okay.
Lifespan ka matlab hai the duration of time that you are going to exist on this earth. So let's say that so and so lives till 80 years of age. Okay, 80 pe the person passes away. That is their lifespan. Health span, which is the concept that everyone is now obsessing on, and we will enter a decade where this will be spoken about time and again, is the quality of your life in those 80 years. Okay, so if I ask you now, Ayush, that you have 2 options. Live till 90, but at 72, you start losing your ability to walk without a stick. You are probably on a wheelchair by 83. Okay. You are bedridden by 87 and you die at 90. This is your first option. Your second option is you die at 78 of a sudden cardiac arrest. You pass away in your sleep. Okay. It's very dark to be taking your name and giving you this example. But your 78th year, you are able to walk 5 kilometers every day. You are able to enjoy with your family. Let's hope you have grandchildren by then. You are enjoying with your grandchildren. You're traveling the world. And you are shooting your podcast episode number 3000 and whatever.
Inshallah.
Which is the life you'd pick?
Yeah, second option.
Second one, 78 and go there. So your health span was better in the second option, but your lifespan was technically better in the first option.
Correct.
So when we speak about longevity, we're really focused on not only your health span, but also improving the number of years. We want to ensure you live as long as possible and you stay disease free, as well as you're able to go about your day-to-day life. Now coming to diseases, okay, to get another understanding is most people will die of one of these four causes.
Okay.
Some form of cancer, some form of diabetes, okay, a neurological disorder, and the fourth being some form of accident or something like that. These are the four disorders that will generally take away life at some age. Now the question is, at what age do you get them? Or obviously an accident can be sudden, but these are the four diseases that actually, or the four ways in which most people pass away. Now, of course, an accident or a thing like that is something that is not in your control. But cancers, of course, there's a huge genetic component to cancers and diabetes, and you can't do anything about it. But cancers, diabetes, and neurological conditions have a major modifiable factor list, which can be modified with lifestyle changes.
Got it.
That is where all these concepts come in of sleeping better, eating better, exercising more. And that is where markers like VO2 max and grip strength have come in as early indicators of where you are headed in life. So if you reach the age of 60, or let's say our parents, and you are noticing weaker grip strength, it's an early indicator of one of those four or eventual mortality chances. It gives you an indicator of that is grip strength. Similarly, VO2 max is basically the amount of oxygen uptake that is possible during exercise, is a test which can be done to just understand that what is the overall health status of this individual. Do I think these markers are the most important parameters and everyone should rush to get them tested? Probably not.
Okay.
Because I really don't think they are giving us any information in our 20s, 30s and 40s that is going to magically influence what we do. Yes, a lot of athletes are all running behind VO2 max. Everyone at that professional level gets their VO2 max tested. But like how I tell you, get your DEXA done. Do I think you need the VO2 max? See, you can get all the testing done.
Yeah.
But when that data is in front of you, you have to see what is the clinical implication of all that data.
Correct.
Am I taking all that information and making any changes? Probably not. You're continuing thrice a week badminton, you're continuing thrice a week gymming, you're eating as healthy as possible. So you're on the right track. Of course, you haven't gone into substance abuse, which is another thing that can affect longevity. I don't know if everyone watching this is heavily into smoking up, vaping, drugs. Of course, injecting is a completely separate thing. But of course, there's so many things that we know Indians are into. And of course, smoking and alcohol being the most common.
Correct.
Of course, tobacco chewing is again an extremely huge thing in India. I don't know how many of our audience would be doing that, but it's a massive Masi India problem. So all these things are going to affect your health span and your lifespan. So yes, VO2 max technically is important. Yes, you can focus on HIIT and zone 2 cardio, which is, kind of working out up to 70 to 80% of your maximum heart rate. There's a lot of science to go into that to help improve your VO2 max. But for the general population, are you really going to create a training program just to improve your VO2 max? When you're we've 10 minutes ago discussed trying to get people to enter a gym, I really don't know. Of course, if you've reached a peak level of fitness where you're ripped at 14% fat, and then I'm like, oh my God, I calculated my VO2 max and it's only 42 as a 31-year-old male. If my VO2 max is 42, I would not be too happy about it. I can maybe alter my training program a little. 1 year later, test it, hope it's 44, try and get towards that 50 number, which is considered excellent.
Yeah.
Yes, you can do that.
Yeah.
But is it something you want to obsess on right now? I'd rather you focus on obsessing on fat percentage and those things.
Makes sense.
So those are early markers of
Got it.
issues. And again, grip strength, something only in sedentary and senile age group
Got it.
as a marker that, oh my God, their grip strength is this thing. This is not a good sign. So yes, something, again, if you focus on exercising, nutrition, things like that, you and I may not have to worry about grip strength being an issue in our 50s and 60s.
Understood.
Assuming no other neurological condition comes in which can cause certain sort of
yeah.
paralysis or things like that, which is completely separate.
You mentioned supplements, right? And I wanted to go deeper into this.
Supplements and anything about it is a very double-edged sword because it can be extremely useful and beneficial if taken when you actually have a need, taken in the right amount, sourced from the right place, and containing the right ingredients. If not, you are just feeding into the billion-dollar market that supplements is. I yesterday read a thread by this guy in the US who said, I take 41 supplements a day. And he's made an entire thread about them.
Yeah.
Like, what? 41 supplements a day. And apart from 4 of them, I don't think any of them were useful. Again, I'm sure there's a lot of research about them. I'm sure there's a lot of company sponsored research that gets published to try and prove to you that, look, this works, you should also take it. The concept that people need to understand that it is called a supplement. आप जब एग्जाम में पेपर लिखते थे, आप सप्लीमेंट लेते थे ना, तो वो सप्लीमेंट होता है. आपका आंसर बुकलेट आपका डाइट है. पहले आंसर बुकलेट खत्म होता है, फिर सप्लीमेंट होता है. क्यों? क्योंकि उसमें कुछ आंसर बुकलेट में डेफिशिएंसी थी, पेजेस नहीं थे और लिखने के लिए, इसलिए आपने सप्लीमेंट लिया, राइट? सो सेम लॉजिक, जब आपका डाइट प्लान या आप जो दिन में खाते हो उसमें अगर कोई कमी है, and that is very much possible. Like currently, for example, I myself am on a 1500 calorie diet per day. I'm doing a cut for 21 days. So I'm working towards my goal with my coach, proper structured plan. And I have added some supplements in these 21 days because I know to reach my goal, I need to be on 1500 calories. Okay. So it's again being done with a lot of care and a lot of this thing. So it's not that आपके घर के खाने में ये नहीं है इसलिए आपको लेना चाहिए, बट समटाइम्स बेस्ड ऑन योर फिटनेस गोल्स एंड बेस्ड ऑन योर न्यूट्रिशन प्लान यू मे नीड टू टेक समथिंग. Similarly, when you spoke about probiotics and you spoke about many of the other things, everyone's gut health is different. Everyone has different amounts of or stages of acidity, bloating, even farting for that matter, or anything. So you may require something to just improve the situation within your body, for which you may take that. You may have sleep issues. You may want to take a supplement for that. So a lot of things, energy levels, fatigue, and all of them. The thing you need to understand is that just because someone else is taking it doesn't mean you need it.
Bilkul.
Just because you're not sure if you need it or not doesn't mean you order it and try it out, because you're not really going to see an overnight benefit or oh my god मैंने ये ले लिया कल से ये होने वाला है. People still think whey protein लेने से biceps बढ़ जाएंगे या ये हो जाएगा, I'll start looking better. नहीं, whey protein is only to meet your protein requirements, because in our Indian diets, majority are carb-based heavy meals. So we are not getting as much protein. Meat eaters are obviously relatively lesser. And even those who eat meat are not technically eating loads and loads of meat for lunch, breakfast, dinner throughout. You're probably having one meal a day non-veg at home or eating out non-veg and all of that. So you're unlikely to meet your protein goals. And that is why protein supplements exist. They are absolutely natural. Breast milk itself has whey. So you need to understand that if you were born and you were breastfed, you have had whey even then. So if you think whey is unnatural, whey is artificial, it's not. It is natural. Please wake up. Just because it's in the form of a powder versus in the form of meat or egg or paneer does not make it unnatural. In fact, you're making it easier for your gut to digest it and for the protein to be absorbed in your blood, because it's literally in a powder and liquid form that you are going to be consuming it. So if anything, your gut is thanking you for it. So please get over the notion that whey protein, and I say whey because whey is generally animal protein, animal or plant protein, or protein supplements in general are unnatural, or they are artificial, or they are bad for you, or they're
years to get digested.
Have years to take digested, like someone very famous said, or they are going to harm your kidney, they're going to harm your liver. If you have no pre-existing kidney or liver issue, nothing is going to happen to you. Please go ahead and consume it. Similarly, on the other hand, don't think whey protein is your answer to a better body. It's not. Don't think whey protein is an answer to muscle.
It's not like a magic pill.
It's not. It's really not. It's only helping you reach your protein goals, so your muscles have time to recover and regrow, and that's how you'll end up making a better body. Not because of that whey protein supplement. It's because you went to the gym, you worked hard for it, and you ended up ensuring your protein, carbs, fats distribution throughout the day was very much in control and what you're supposed to have. So overall, supplements, if required, big yes, but random prescription, random purchasing, big no. And a very important aspect I should mention when I speak about supplements is that many of them don't require the regulatory authorities to pass them off as to go to market. So they don't come under FDA.
Okay.
So you need to understand that it's very easy for even you and me today to find manufacturers, create a supplement, nicely package it, focus on our marketing and sell it. If you want, you and I can do this within 1 month. The number of regulatory bodies and the number of certifications required is very minimal. So you need to understand that, again, you are trusting someone. So again, going for not only reputable brands, but also the source, because protein supplement adulteration is a massive problem in India. It's a huge problem in India. And recently, I think in UP, someone was caught with crores of rupees that they had made by doing protein powder adulteration and selling it in mass. So you need to make sure you just try to purchase it from the company's website, because even on e-commerce sites, there have been a lot of sellers doing a lot of funny stuff, and the e-commerce sites are not going to take responsibility for that because they have a separate process. So it's not just about what the supplement is, it's about whether you need it or not, it's about how much you should be taking, and it's about where you buy it from. There's a lot of factors. We can do a 2-hour session on supplements technically,
consult your nutritionist,
but definitely nutritionist and your doctor 100%. One thing I will say, and I don't mind if this stirs up a controversy, is that multivitamins are a scam. You do not require multivitamins. There is no need to pop multivitamins because they are a mixture and combination of huge number of vitamins and minerals, not giving you benefit of any of them. So if you have a deficiency of D3, take D3. If you have a deficiency of B12, take B12. If you have a deficiency of magnesium, take magnesium. Don't waste your money on multivitamins. The only person you're making happy is the company you're paying money to. It's making no difference. You're passing most of it out in your urine anyway. Please stop multivitamins.
Got it. And what's your take on creatine? Because creatine, I've done some study that it's usually for people, high performing athletes and all that. And if you're not working out a lot, if you're not playing a lot of sports and you're still taking it, it might have adverse effect on your heart.
Creatine is the number one supplement to exist in the world.
Okay.
There is nothing better than creatine. Nothing. I can say this on camera, and I don't care if you quote me anywhere in the world. Every human being should consume 3 to 5 grams of creatine every day, irrespective of whether they lift a dumbbell or not. It is the safest supplement out there. It is the most researched supplement out there. It works wonders for your muscles and overall for your longevity. The recent studies on creatine have spoken about brain health, on how important it is for brain health. Only positives. The only people who need to consult a specialist before their creatine dosing are those with a pre-existing liver or kidney condition. If you are having an absolutely normal kidney and liver, you do not need a doctor, you do not need a nutritionist to start 3 to 5 grams of creatine every single day.
Why is it so good for your brain and muscles?
Creatine is a chemical that it's impossible for you to get the amount that your body requires through food.
Okay.
So significantly heavily found in meat and seafood. आपको जितना भी आप खा लो, कितना खा लोगे आप meat, you will not hit the requirement that it needs. Your muscles need creatine to thrive. Your muscles need creatine for performance. And when I say performance, I'm not only referring to sporting or gym performance, for day-to-day performance. And like I said, most recent studies for brain productivity, for brain health, to slow down aging, creatine is your go-to number one choice, where I can confidently say you don't need someone to write a prescription for it. Again, if you go crazy on the dose, you cannot then blame me. 3 to 5 grams a day is extremely safe.
How important is mental health when it comes to gaining weight or losing weight, or just like overall body and living a good life?
So obviously, I mean, I don't need to go towards the direction of, oh, it's important. We all know it's important, right? I mean, there's enough people have spoken about it. Enough people have, dwelled upon it. But one thing I have realized, personal experience, when something is wrong in my life, okay, whether it is relationships with family, partner, anything, whether it is work pressure, whether it is exam related. I mean, I'm still, for those who don't know, I'm still doing my PhD. So imagine I'm still a student technically. So whether it is study or exam related stuff, anytime you are under that extreme stress and not at this mental equilibrium, I like to call it that, I think it's going to affect your physical health as well.
Okay.
So 100% I feel that mental health is beyond important, even more than physical health for that matter. Because अगर आप वो state of mind में हो ही नहीं to focus on your health. See, today you and I, and we discuss nutrition a lot, we discuss exercise a lot, we discuss excelling in our respective careers a lot. That means you and I are in a decent stage mentally. Of course, there could be different things happening personally. That's a different thing. But we are in a decent stage personally to be driven and passionate enough to grow our own careers, our own businesses, and even focus on removing time out of our day to eat healthier, to live healthier, to exercise a bit. Imagine if something significant was going on in your life personally or my life personally. I've put enough examples on you. I don't want to put more examples on you. X person's life, something's going on where it is affecting your mental equilibrium, where your mood is affected.
Okay.
And I don't like to use the word depression or anxiety very loosely because these are all medical terms and things which mental health professionals should diagnose. But let's say you are feeling low. You are not feeling up to the mark. आप में वो जुनून नहीं है आज सुबह उठ के जाके ये करने का. तो आपका, where will you go and put in a gym workout? Where will you have the the ability and the mindset to be like, this is my plate and I know I have to eat only this? You'll be like, bro, Zomato, Belgian waffle, let's eat that today. Because this will give me the dopamine. This will give me my mental high, even though it's for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. And it could even be masturbation for that matter.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so frustrated, I will masturbate to feel better. Okay. And again, please masturbate, do whatever you want. That's a completely separate topic. But why? Because you got that temporary hormonal high and that psychological feel good factor. And then after it's done, you're like, oh, my problems still exist.
Yeah.
Like I'm still back to that lull phase,
Yeah.
which is not making me do
Reality
anything
hasn't
else.
changed.
So that is how important mental health is, because without that, you're not going to be able to focus on all the other aspects that will ensure you live longer. Mental health will also include different things when it comes to the workspace in terms of fatigue and burnout. I mean, if you're just burnt out at work and you're going to be irritated, you're not going to be in a good state of mind, you're going to go home, not probably spend good time with family, kids, parents, and give them the love that you want to give. You'll probably be in your own mind, you're thinking about that. So again, it kind of encapsulates everything else going on in your life, and having that in equilibrium is only going to help you succeed not only in work, productivity, relationships with family and friends, your ability to even go out and have a good time peacefully, your exercise, your nutrition. It's like the nucleus to everything else around it, which are different factors that fall into place. Because you can be in a great space mentally and not feel like working out and not worry about this and be a little overweight and still be happy. There's so many people who say, हाँ मेरा waist 38 है, मैं खुश हूँ भाई, तेरा क्या जा रहा है? मैं खुश हूँ life में. There's even a jokingly people say, यार ये थोड़े healthier लोग who don't care about anything but they are mentally happy, ये लोग ज़्यादा जीते हैं. और जिसने ज़्यादा ऑब्सेस किया अपने बॉडी के बारे में, अपने हेल्थ के बारे में, या मैंने ये भी नहीं किया, मैंने ये भी नहीं किया, वो लोग 65 पे जा रहे हैं, 70 पे जा रहे हैं. और एंड व्हेन दोस एग्जांपल्स हैपन, यू से यार आई नेवर स्मोक्ड, आई नेवर ड्रैंक, आई यूज्ड टू वॉक एवरी डे, आई यूज्ड टू गो टू द जिम, आई यूज्ड टू डू एवरीथिंग, बट दिस गाय हैड अ सडन कार्डियक अरेस्ट. And I have someone in my extended family who's 74, smokes and drinks, and has a 38-inch waist and enjoys life. He's mentally happy. He's enjoying his life. He's alive. Why did this guy die? So again, very tough to say why for either of them. But you can be in a mentally good state and not care about this thing. But it's very unlikely you'll be in a mentally bad state and have the same energy to push the way you want to.
Very good point.
Or focus on your career the way you want. That's how important it is. Yeah.
Makes sense. Okay, so last two things before we end this end-to-end conversation, how to live a good life. One is exercise. Like what would you suggest people who are getting into gym and like getting into exercise? किस type की exercise उन्हें करनी चाहिए to live like a good life?
You know what I see people do the most when I enter a gym is bicep curls. मेरे को पता नहीं है क्यों कर रहे हो तुम.
ये दिखाने
हाँ, मतलब they think that 5 किलो का bicep मार के, and I see the same uncles do it again and again, and I've also seen a lot of women do it. You need to understand that you have larger muscles in the body and you have smaller muscles in the body. Now, your larger muscles, mainly your muscle groups rather, will be your chest, back and legs. Okay. Your smaller muscle groups will be your biceps, triceps, shoulders, and you can put core somewhere in the middle. I don't think it's a small muscle group. It's equally important. You need to focus on your large muscle groups. Now I'll tell you why. Because when you focus on your chest, it is a push activity. Okay, now I know people who understand gymming terminology, they know what push means, but it literally means that you have weights and you push them to work your muscle. The tricep muscle is at the back of your arm and its function is elbow extension. Now think about this. Push, whether it's a push-up or it's a chest press machine, whether it's a bench press, push में क्या हो रहा है मेरा? एल्बो एक्सटेंशन हो रहा है. मतलब मेरे पुश के एक्टिविटी में या मेरे चेस्ट के एक्सरसाइजेज में मेरा ट्राइसेप वर्क हो रहा है.
करेक्ट
हो रहा है. सिमिलरली योर बैक इज अ पुल एक्टिविटी. Okay, which means that you are going to take weights and pull them towards you, whether it's a lat pull down bar, whether it's a seated row or any other activity, you are going to pull towards you.
Yeah.
When you pull, you will naturally do an elbow flexion. When you do an elbow flexion, I'm going to get a chance to show off my biceps. When you do an elbow flexion, you will be working your biceps because the function of the biceps is to flex your elbow.
Yeah.
So you are naturally working your bicep when you do your back. You're naturally working your tricep when you do your chest. So you can work arms. I'm not saying don't. You can do it at the end of a back workout, do a little bit of biceps because you've already pumped them up so far. At the end of the chest workout, you can do a little bit of triceps because you've already pumped them up. That's why back bicep, chest tricep is a thing they say, no? आज मैं क्या करूँगा? Back bicep. आज मैं क्या करूँगा? Chest tricep, and sometimes they add shoulder over there.
Makes sense.
Why? Because throughout your workout, Ayush learned something today. Throughout your workout, you have worked your bicep.
Crazy.
So you've already given your bicep a mini workout. Now let's give it a pump by doing the bicep. But if you don't have time, focus on chest, back and legs. These are your major muscle groups. When you work them, you burn far more calories than the smaller muscle groups.
Perfect.
That's one thing. So now when you come to name the exercises, even if you are in the gym or not in the gym, a simple push-up is something you should be able to do. If you can't do a push-up, do a knee push-up, which is something everyone can do. And if you can't do that, a chest press machine or a dumbbell chest press or a barbell bench press, whichever you want to do.
Got it.
That is most important. That's number one. Number two is doing your pull-up. Again, a very difficult thing to do. There is a machine which helps in assisted pull-ups. You can have a loop band around your thigh, around your knee and do an assisted pull-up. You can have a trainer trying to push you a little. But when you do your pull-up, you're going to work your back. So this is a basic exercise for your pull-up. For those who can't do that, it's difficult. Take a lat pull-down machine and do that. Third, for your legs, absolutely basic is squat. If you can squat, you're going to end up working your quads. Even when you come up the end stage, you'll end up working your glutes. Extremely good exercise. So push up, pull up, squats. If you can do these three, it's great. Yes, to add something for your shoulder, a fourth would be a shoulder overhead press. These are the absolute first exercises we do when we have a leg day or we have a chest day, when we have a back day.
Yeah.
You can do this. Another very important thing is hanging. Hanging will help with your grip strength. We've discussed grip strength as a marker for longevity. So hang. Just hang for as long as you can till your arms give up and you have to just come down. So hanging is something you can take as a fifth option because it will work on your grip strength. I think this covers everything a beginner needs to know, and using this, you'll be absolutely fine. And for those people, like I said at the start of my story, if you think doing your bicep curls are going to get your biceps out, they're really not. You have your biceps. Reduce your overall fat percentage, your bicep definition will come. Yes, doing a few bicep exercises will cause the pump, which gives you the shape, which will look good in a shirt only when you have less fat on your arm. First, focus on reducing your fat. I don't know why everyone thinks activating their biceps is going to give them that bicep look. It's not. Focus on reducing all your overall fat. How will you lose that overall fat? By burning more calories. How will you burn more calories? By training large muscle groups, chest, back, legs. That's how the cycle happens.
Perfect. Awesome. That was pretty informative. I also learned something.
And this is something I don't think most trainers can explain. That understanding will be very different. But again, not to look down on them.
The last part to close this circle of whatever we discussed in the last 1.5 hours is recovery. And one of the most important part of recovery is good sleep. What is the importance of a good night's sleep in muscle building, living a good life? And how do you suggest people go about it?
Sleep is when the magic happens. Okay. So, and the reason why I speak about strength training before I move completely into sleep, and of course it's related to the sleep point. The reason why, and you mentioned you have someone in the office who plays cricket. When you play cricket or any sport, or you do cardio, or you walk, you are only facilitating an active calorie burn. मतलब आप जब वो एक्टिविटी कर रहे हो आपके थोड़े कैलोरीज बर्न हो रहे हैं.
करेक्ट.
लेकिन जब आप वेट ट्रेनिंग करते हो, you are causing the wear and tear of those fibers. That is the active part. And when you sleep, the recovery happens. That is the passive calorie burn. Don't forget, when you tear your muscles, your body has to regrow them. Your body has to restructure them. That consumes calories as well. That passive calorie burn only happens when you are resting and you are sleeping. That is why strength training is so important, because you're getting double the benefit, active calorie burn and passive calorie burn. Whereas when you're playing a sport, you're only getting the active calorie burn. Now, if you do not have good sleep in terms of hours, in terms of quality, in terms of consistency, because good sleep is not 8 hours today, 6 tomorrow, 9 tomorrow, 3 the day after. It's 6 to 8 or 6 to 9 every day. If you have consistency, good quality, and when I say quality, I can tell you a little bit about the stages if you want to know, and the duration, that is when your rest and recovery will happen, not only for muscles, and I only say muscles because I'm an orthopedic surgeon and we discuss exercise, but every cell in your body. So even your brain cells recovery happens when you sleep. So just to briefly touch upon the stages, if people know, there is a stage called REM sleep and there is NREM sleep. REM is rapid eye movement, NREM is non-rapid eye movement. Usually what happens is throughout the night, your sleep has various cycles that goes into NREM, REM, NREM, REM, NREM, REM, NREM, REM, and you wake up. Usually it is between 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 cycles based on the duration of your sleep. Now, NREM sleep itself has 3 different stages within it. The first stage being a very light stage, wherein if someone even makes a little bit of sound, your eyes will wake up. The second stage, you are in a little deeper sleep. And the third stage is where the deep sleep happens. That is the fruit, or that is the light at the end of the tunnel. So if the quality of your sleep is not good, you are not technically reaching that third stage of NREM, or you are reaching it for an extremely short duration of time, that's working against you. In that third stage is when the maximum cell repair and overall recovery happens. Your immune system is boosted. All of that happens in the third stage of NREM.
Got it.
After that NREM comes your REM stage. REM ka matlab hai rapid eye movement, means actually your pupils are moving and your eyes are moving in your sleep, but your brain is not perceiving this visual stimuli. So you are still sleeping. And because of that REM stage, aapko sapna aata hai. You dream, the dreams that you get are a consequence of what happens in the REM stage. You cannot get dreams in the NREM stage. You get dreams only in the REM stage.
Nice.
Because there is rapid eye movement happening. There is some stimulus happening, but your brain is not perceiving it as it's happening in real time and you're getting a dream. That is what happens. But why is REM stage important? That is the stage where your learning and memory develops. So whatever you have done throughout the day, so let's say मैंने पूरा दिन पढ़ाई की है या मैंने पूरा दिन किसी चीज पे काम किया है, that is processed by the brain in the REM stage. So the 4 stages are NREM 1, NREM 2, NREM 3, REM. Technically there are 2 stages, but NREM is divided into 3. The third and the fourth are maximum importance. The third stage of NREM and
That's
REM,
deep sleep
and the REM is where your cell repair recovery happens, and in REM your learning and memory is boosted.
Got
And then you go back into the cycle of NREM 1, NREM 2, and these 3 to 5 cycles you'll end up waking up.
And if I'm not getting dreams, is that a sign that it's not a good sleep?
No, that's totally okay. That's totally okay.
And what are the things you have to make sure for good quality sleep? Like for example, one is dark room hona chahiye. Second, temperature. I think people say 18 to 20 degrees. Thoda cold hona chahiye. Some people say you shouldn't wear any clothes as well. What are your top 1, 2, 3, 4 things?
So it's very difficult to pinpoint and again say one size fits all. Okay. And I'll tell you this because I myself, I think I get decent sleep. Again, I don't go over analyzing it and tracking it and worrying too much about it because I think I wake up with decent energy levels. I work out in the mornings. I'm able to push great. I think overall I'm doing okay. Again, this is a qualitative analysis because I don't have a quantifiable measure. But I know for a fact that I watch a screen till I fall off to sleep. I have made videos on this that please don't do it. Okay. So I am guilty. Okay. Yeah. I am guilty, but I'm doing okay. So again, I think it's about finding the cause or the trigger for that particular person who feels that they are having some issues with their sleep, and then trying to use a trial and error method to eliminate A, screen time, B, light brightness, C, things like a calming aura or a music that is soothing, D, some people say you can journal and it improves your sleep. So many things, or even the amount of exertion during the day, the amount of mental stress you have, or even meditate for that matter. All of these come later. It's not that I have a blueprint for you कि Ayush कल से ये 3 चीज कर और देख तू 1 महीने में कितना सोता है. I frankly don't have it. And if someone is giving you one, it is more from a subjective point of view, but from a objectively seeing, you cannot have these 3 things and these 3 things. Like for example, for exercise, I can tell you, do this, do this, do this. You'll definitely be better. You'll move better. Your muscles will be. But for this, I don't really have that.
Got it. All right. That brings us to the last section.
Yes.
Of the conversation, which is myths and facts. And first is, क्या पानी बैठ के पीना चाहिए या खड़े होके पीना चाहिए?
Absolutely false. So, following myth. Modern science, this is a massively big myth. यार आयुष मैराथन में देखा है लोग भागते भागते पानी पीते हैं and they are the top athletes in the world. Footballers are athletes, everyone's drinking water while standing. So complete false. There's no science behind it.
Second is cardio is the only way to lose weight.
Not at all. In fact, it's the least important way when your focus is to lose weight. Or rather, I'll say when your focus is to lose fat. Because you can lose a lot of weight doing cardio, but you may end up losing some muscle as well. Again, a good balance of cardio and strength training would be the best way to lose fat. And of course, nutrition, which is a separate thing.
Cracking knuckles causes arthritis.
It doesn't. Absolutely false. I think I've covered this myself, and it's one of the videos that has given me a lot of growth. They are just gas bubbles that are bursting within the joints.
Yeah.
Absolutely false.
More exercise will lead to a better life.
False, because more may not necessarily mean better. You can have an unhealthy amount of intensity, duration, and volume of exercise that can lead to not only injuries but other issues that can actually decrease your health levels instead of increasing them. So more doesn't necessarily mean better. Optimum level only.
Running barefoot will make it better.
So there is actual study that says that when you run barefoot, you have more control over your foot biomechanics. Because now, if I ask you to run barefoot and I tell you to land on your forefoot, you'll be able to do that barefoot a little better than with a shoe, because in shoe, you're obviously locked in. So yes, running barefoot can be beneficial in those already having knee pains and issues. We do tell them that you can consider it. But if you're absolutely fine, I don't think running barefoot is significantly better than running with shoes.
Ice bath helps you increase longevity.
I think that's a load of bullshit. Okay. Yeah. So I'll take 30 seconds to explain why. Ice baths or decreasing your body to a particular temperature is now known to lead to brown fat activation. So we have white fat, we have brown fat, we have beige fat in our body. And वो ब्राउन फैट जब एक्टिवेट होता है तो दे से दैट इट बर्न्स मोर कैलोरीज एंड दिस इज व्हाई पीपल आर सेइंग इट्स अ गेम चेंजर फॉर वेट लॉस, अ गेम चेंजर फॉर रिकवरी, अ गेम चेंजर फॉर longevity. I just feel that there is way too much emphasis on the ice aspect rather than on it being cold temperatures. I feel a cold shower and an ice bath has absolutely the same benefits, and those benefits are fairly minuscule compared to everything else that you can focus on. So while I know very famous high productive individuals who boast about their ice bath routines, and they say that it's life changing, that is just a subjective analysis. One thing I will say is obviously if you wake up in the morning, have an ice bath or you have a cold shower, it's going to wake the hell up out of you. So now what I've started doing is having a cold shower bath before my workout. Many people go for morning workouts without a bath. I have a cold shower workout before my workout.
Oh.
You will not believe I am fresh as hell, and I feel, again, subjective, qualitative opinion, that I work out better with a cold shower.
Insane.
Does that mean I will live longer because I've taken this cold shower? I don't know. So, cold showers, yes. Ice baths, unnecessary marketing gimmick and wastage of ice.
All right. On that controversial note, thank you, Mr. Dr. Vora. That was a good one. I think anyone watching this, I hope you learned a lot. Combine this with this podcast, which is with Himali, which is co-founder of Manan itself. You have everything you need to know about nutrition, physical exercise, and living a long, good life, just like I and him probably will.
Yes.
All right. Thanks, bro.
Thank you so much for having me. Always a pleasure. Thank you.
Alright guys, I hope after watching this full podcast आप एक्सरसाइज करना, फिजिकल फिटनेस एंड मसल बिल्डिंग पे काम करना शुरू कर दोगे. अगर आपने न्यूट्रिशन वाला ये पॉडकास्ट नहीं देखा है हिमाली के साथ तो प्लीज वो देखो. दीज बोथ आर को-फाउंडर्स हु वर्क ऑन बोथ फिजिकल फिटनेस एंड न्यूट्रिशन, एंड ये दोनों कॉम्बिनेशन के अलावा आपको और कुछ नहीं चाहिए. सो शेयर दिस विद योर फैमिली मेंबर्स एंड फ्रेंड एंड लेट्स मेक इंडिया अ हेल्दियर नेशन.